Dear Diary, well, we picked up some big results in those last two games we had in the league, especially against Coleraine after having the one-man disadvantage for a little bit. Have told the guys to not get stuck in off the back of that, as our discipline record cards-wise is shocking. Things don't get any easier with our next two games, taking on Crusaders and Glentoran. Wins here would put us in a great spot to win the title this season, even with LAN and their games in hand. And we owe these teams after they somehow drew against us the last time we played both in the league. Games we should have won. More W's please. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 28 of FMOE here with Linfield on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we pick up right where we left off at the end of yesterday's episode. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it top right corner. But today it is two more games against teams inside the top four in the Premiership here in Northern Ireland. First up we host Crusaders, and then off the back of that another Bel Classico as we travel to the other side of Belfast to take on Glentoran. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but obviously very little has happened off the back of that episode yesterday, with these being our next two games that just happened to fall quite nicely with the fact that these two teams are also inside the top four. Also, it is Christmas party season, so it just gives me the chance to do two recordings in one sitting, but nonetheless, they are two good games, and hopefully we can continue our good form off the back of yesterday's episode, but also not quite pick up so many cards. As you can see, our card record this season is absolutely shocking, albeit our goals scored and goals conceded is also quite good. So obviously it's been working, but I think it's time for us to try and go without getting stuck in, because obviously it's leaving us in the lurch a little bit in terms of when we can play some of our players for this first game coming up. In today's episode against Crusaders, we are going to be missing both Kemi Logan, obviously off the back of that red card he did get in that 2-1 win against Coleraine, but also Chris Shields has now picked up too many yellow cards, so he is missing as well. So what that does mean is for this upcoming game, we've made changes in those two positions, as well as a few other areas, just giving a few players a rest there to try and make sure that they can get through this quite compact schedule that we have had over the last month or so. So obviously Pepper is starting at right back, and also Jake Kane in the midfield. But as well as that, we have decided to start Cole McLean alongside Kane in the midfield. That is because Kemi Palmer is on a heavy workload and quite highly injury susceptible at the moment, so we'll just play it safe and drop him down to the bench. McLean coming up from the reserves, and also Aaron Lowell, the bloke who got the winning goal for us yesterday, off of the bench. He can start at right wing in place of Ross McCausland, who also is quite high in terms of his injury risk at the moment. So a few changes there as we head into the first game of today's episode against Crusaders, a team we are pretty familiar with, have played them a few times so far in this save, got off to a very good start this season, but have just faded away a little bit, currently finding themselves in fourth, not really in the title hunt, I think it's fair to say, with that gap that is there between the top three teams and the rest. But nonetheless, it is an interesting matchup, and off the back of that, it is the Bel Classico, the third one of the season in the league, as we take on Glentoran. We are yet to beat them in league gameplay so far this season. Hopefully we can get the job done in today's episode, and obviously if we pick up wins in these two games, we might even extend our gap on top of the table, currently 8 points clear with that game in hand over the teams in behind us, going down to Cliftonville and obviously LAN. Still a bit of an interesting situation, but they continue to drop points just enough that I don't think they can catch us, even if they do go on a bit of a run and we start to drop a few games. I think it would still be a hard ask for them to try and catch us up. It does look like that European football is costing them a little bit so far in this domestic season, but I think that's everything that we do need to run through before we get into this doubleheader in today's episode. So we'll come back shortly yet again from Windsor Park as we take on Crusaders in the league. And just shy of the 10-minute mark, we have our first highlight in this one. We do have a free kick here right inside the final third. It's a dangerous area for Niall Quinn to try and put this far post. It's a bit of a mess in there, but Aaron Lyle is going to get another goal right off the back of that winner against Coleraine in yesterday's episode. He grabs the first goal of this one, and we go 1-0 up through the first highlight. First off, O'Connor got his head on the end of this. Good save from the goalkeeper, then Lyle with a block shot from a defender, but thankfully the rebound falls right at his feet, and off the back of quite a few chances in that highlight, we do grab a 1-0 lead, and off the back of that, a free kick from McLean, and Lowe gets his head on the end of that one. It goes through the hands of Murphy, and just like that in the first couple of highlights of this game, we grab a nice early 2-0 lead, and hopefully that might put this one to bed early. Pretty poor goalkeeping there, but we'll take it. 2-0 up here inside the first 15 minutes. And those were the only two highlights of that first half, nice and early and resulting in 2 goals in our favour, but pretty good performance, even though we haven't actually had that many shots overall, but we're pretty much maxing our XG for now, and Crusaders yet to get a shot on target. The only concern, even with us not getting stuck in, we have picked up 2 yellow cards in that first half, one of them to Jake Kane, so we'll be a little bit cautious with him. We've told him to ease off tackles now as well, but a pretty good first half. Hopefully get a bit more action in the second half. We're pretty happy with how things are going at the moment. We'll get things back underway with a 2-0 lead. And just past the hour mark, still nothing happening off the back of those first 2 highlights for 2 goals, but I think it is time for us to make a few changes in this one just to keep everyone fresh going in to this quite busy schedule we do have at the moment. McKee can come on for McDade. Gumbo will come on for Pepper on a yellow card. Also, Palmer can come on for Kane with the exact same situation. And while we're here, we may as well take off Joel Cooper as well, only going okay on a 6.6. Stanky can come on for him and play out on the left wing today. That's 4 of our subs used, still 2-0 up with a half hour left. And with just under 20 minutes left in this one, we're going to make our last substitution. Still nothing happening off the back of those first 2 highlights, but Niall Quinn down to a red heart. Charlie Sayers can come on for him, probably should have brought him on before. Still 2-0 up. And just inside the last 10 minutes of this one, finally a highlight in the second half. We have a free kick here inside the final third. O'Connor did actually get a head on the end of it, but it does go over the bar in the end. Not a very useful highlight. Cliftonville come back there with a late goal against Coleraine, which could make that game a little bit interesting. But overall, that was a pretty lifeless affair off the back of those first 2 highlights inside those first 15 minutes. But we don't mind. We still pick up a 2-0 win. Aaron Lowell picks up man of the match off the back of his performance to get us the win in yesterday's second game as well against Coleraine, and it's another 3 points for us at home to keep us on top of the league table. Going to be interesting to see what that does do to that table, with that Coleraine result looking like it might be in jeopardy if Cliftonville, one of our other rivals, could grab a goal late in that one to add to that one that they did get to pull that one back to a 2-1 scoreline. And would you believe it, they have done exactly that. So Coleraine there blowing a 2-0 lead. So what that does mean is we have extended our gap on top of the table now to 10 points, and still with that game in hand and about to take on Glentoran, who are one of those teams joint on second spot at the moment as well. Hopefully we can finally get a win over those guys in the league this season, and most of our first team players should be back for that game as well, with us having rested them and them being suspended for that one just there as well. So that is a good result. We pick up 3 points there with a 2-0 win against Crusaders, and we'll come back shortly with the Bel Classico away at Glentoran. And I thought it would be a comeback for the team sheets for the second game of today's episode. There are Glentoran playing a 5-3-2. And here we are with our 4-2-3-1. We have brought back Shields as well as Palmer to that midfield. So certainly a stronger midfield for that one. But apart from that, we are unchanged. And hopefully for the first time in the league, we can pick up 3 points here against Glentoran and hopefully extend our lead on top of the table. It only takes us 4 minutes for our first highlight in this one, albeit it is Glentoran here who are on the attack. But thankfully we get a block in on that ball, which was looking a little bit dangerous there as they were on the attack inside the final third, but thankfully We did put a body in there and now long ball forward for Robbie McDade, and he puts that one away. So despite what that highlight looked like, it might turn out to be early. We grab an early 1-0 lead here away from home in this Bel Classico, and hopefully today is the day we can beat these guys in a league clash. Nice long ball forward there from Pepper at right back. Logan's suspension did actually last 2 games for that red card yesterday, but that is a good moment there for the replacement. Plays that long ball forward and we grab a nice early 1-0 lead. It's a little bit aerial ping pong now, not too long off the back of that previous highlight, but now we knock the ball about nicely down this left hand side and Niall Quinn starts to make his way inside the final third here. We'll play that one in for Robbie McDade yet again. He grabs an early double, and only 6 minutes into this one, we grab a 2-0 lead. It's very similar to that last game that we did play against Crusaders, only this time away from home, and it's happened a little bit sooner, but a brilliant start here for us in this derby. It's a simple tap in there for McDade off the back of that nice ball from Quinn, and we grab a very early 2-0 lead. And just shy of the half hour mark, we have our next highlight in this one. Glentoran, we're about to get on the attack there, but that is a bad tackle from Cammy Palmer. He's just come back into the team. We've got our guys easing off tackles or not getting stuck in, and we are down to 10 men yet again. So what we're going to have to do here is make another substitution early on in this one. Kyle McLean will come on for Jordan Stewart and drop back into that defensive midfield role like we usually do. And early on, after a really good start in this derby, we are down to 10 men yet again. We're going to also put our wingers on support, and I think this time nice and early with that lead, we have built up also our wing backs on defend, but off the back of a really good start. Now this game gets very interesting. 2-0 up, but down to 10 men, just shy of the half hour mark. And only a few minutes off the back of that red card, it is now Glentoran who are on the attack. Some good work there from O'Connor to get the ball just outside the box, but he hoofs that clear, and unfortunately, with not quite as many attackers, we can't deal with that danger. A missed header there, I think that might have been from Pepper Murray with a long shot from just outside the box, and they might have a comeback on here, Glentoran, because they grab one back very shortly off the back of that red card. O'Connor there with a header away, but we should have dealt with it there too. I think that would have been Pepper in that right back spot. It might have even been actually Lyle, but unfortunately, a pretty good goal there from Murray nonetheless from outside the box. And now Glentoran find a way back into this. It is 2-1, and that is half-time in this one. As mentioned before, it was a really good start with those 2 early goals to Robbie McDade, but from there, big turning point, that red card to Cammy Palmer at the half-hour mark, and not too long off the back of that, they did get a goal back. As you can see, we also got our boys to be a bit more disciplined, to lower the tempo, just to see if that might help us in this one. To be fair, that goal that they did score, just like in the game against Coleraine yesterday, it was quite a good one, but we're going to tell the boys that they can still win this one. Hopefully that will be the case, as we are 2-1 ahead, but down to 10 men for this last 45 minutes. And very early on here in the second half, we do have an early highlight as we do it to clear our lines here, as Glentoran no doubt will have their tails up off the back of that red card, but it might be a chance here for McDade to grab us a cushion goal. It was a big chance, but unfortunately a goalkeeper comes up with a big save to keep it at 2-1. And up to the hour mark, I think it's time for us to make our second substitution of this game. This time it will be one that we actually want to make. We'll just adjust the opposition instructions as well while we are here. But Aaron Lowell today not quite doing as well in that right wing spot, so Ross McCausland can come on for him, and hopefully we might be able to grab a cushion goal with these 10 men. Otherwise, just hold on, as we are still 2-1 up with a half hour left. And just about to enter the last 10 minutes of this game, it is a corner in our favour. We try and pick out someone near far post. A little bit of aerial ping pong here just outside the box. A lot of our defenders here are quite tight, and it might have showed there O'Connor a bit loose on the ball, and Glentoran might get a chance here on the counter attack. We've done really well to keep this at 2-1 for now, but thankfully he goes for the shot there, McLean, and puts it over the bar. And off the back of that, I think it might be a sign we need to shuffle things up at the back with our last few substitutions. So Sayers will come on for Quinn. We'll bring on Calica for Logue, and also I think we'll take off O'Connor on that red heart, even though he is playing quite well, and bring on a Gumbo for him. So it's 3 defensive changes here with our last few substitutions, and hopefully enough fresh legs there at the back to make sure that we can hold on to this 2-1 lead. And at the 84-minute mark, we have our next highlight in this one. It is a free kick in our favour, and McCausland is going to win the race to this ball. Can we grab a cushion goal? It's a great chance there for Cooper, but unfortunately he just scoops that one a little bit too much. It comes off the bar. We're on the attack yet again, but Glentoran do clear that one. We're showing a lot of heart here, down to 10 men, still with this lead. Hopefully we can hang on to it, and yet again McCausland here is on the ball down this right-hand side. It looks like we're causing them a few problems late in that one with those fresh legs down that side in the form of the former Rangers man. He starts to cut inside here. We'll find McDade, just takes his time on the ball, plays that one back to Chris Shields, and now Sayers down the left-hand side. Can he find a ball forward for Cooper? He can. Doesn't put that one into the mixer. It goes back out to Sayers here. He'll put a ball in there. McDade with a header just loops over the bar. But we are inside the last few minutes now of this game. But we get another highlight here. It is a goal kick to Glentoran. They pump it deep, and they do keep the ball. Thankfully, Ogumbo is there to tidy things up. So for now, it looks like we're dealing with this danger late in this one fairly well. Cooper can't quite win that clearance, though, from our goalkeeper, and it's a missed header there from Calica. Big chance for Donnelly, but thankfully he comes off the post, and also he was offside, so Calica there gets away with one as we enter injury time in this game. And it's a late corner here for Glentoran. We don't quite deal with it, but thankfully Sayers will clear that ball away. Chris Shields is after it. Probably not the ideal player to try and get that ball with his pace, but they play a ball in behind. It's a goal for Donnelly, but thankfully the flag has gone up. It did look like he might be offside, so our defence just a little bit shaky there off the back of us bringing on those substitutes, in particular Calica, who does not have a lot of pace, but John's here doing a good job taking his time over this free kick. With only a few seconds remaining on the clock here, this would be a big 3 points after we did go down to 10 men nice and early in this game, and thankfully we do keep the ball off the back of that goal kick. We hoof it deep, and for some reason McLean will head that one out for a throw-in, and I think the referee has blown full time. Indeed he has. That is a massive 3 points yet again after going down to 10 men. That one a little bit different than that game that we did play against Coleraine yesterday, because this time we did not get the opposition equalising things with us with a red card to them as well, and that is a great effort from us to hold on there to all 3 points. A great effort in that second half to keep that scoreline at 2-1, and we probably actually had the better chances to extend that lead, but that is a big 3 points with 10 men in the Bel Classico, and as you can see, we are still 10 points clear on top of the table, but now it is Coleraine who are behind us with that gap, and it's a further 3 points back to Glentoran, and we still have that game in hand as well. So we are in a very, very strong position off the back of these last couple of games that we have played in the league. It's another win against one of our title rivals there, 2-1 against Glentoran, despite playing 60 minutes down to 10 men. And back in the inbox off the back of that big win there in that Belfast Big 2 derby, our first win against these guys in the league this season, and a very memorable one as well off the back of us playing that game for 60 minutes. Down to 10 men there, coach. Very disappointed by that victory. We are very happy, but a little bit concerning that we are still getting players pick up red cards, even though we have told our guys to not get stuck in. So our discipline, certainly an issue, but for now, it's not costing us too much, because as you can see, we do have that nice big gap on top of the league table. And in terms of a transfer update as well, we have still not put in a bid for any players. We still have that £785 a week wage budget left. I'm not too sure if we're going to do anything with that. We might just save it up for the youth intake when that does happen around about March, I believe it is, here in Northern Ireland, but I don't think we can find anyone who's going to improve our squad too much. And to be fair, we have been doing a decent job, even with all those injuries and suspensions, to hold top spot in the league. But that will do it for today's episode. Another 2 good wins there, especially that second one against Glentoran, down to 10 men for most of that one. If you did enjoy today's 2 games, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back at the start of next week, and I think we're going to get through a little bit of football in between now and then, because to be fair, apart from that Challenge Cup quarter-final, which I think on recent form might be quite winnable for us, I think the next big games might be coming up in February, and the 2 that stand out, definitely that League Cup final as we take on Lance. So we'll come back for our first cup final of the Save the League Cup, where hopefully we can pick up our first win against Larne here at Linfield. And around that, we might also come back for that game against Coleraine or Glenavon, depending on which of those 2 teams are higher up on the table at that stage. But also, if that Larne game does go to penalties, that might be the only game that we do show in that episode. We'll see how that one does go, but certainly we'll come back at the start of next week, give you guys an update on how we are doing in the Irish Cup, the Challenge Cup, and the league, and play that League Cup final as we do take on Larne. And that's how we are going to start things off here next week on the channel, and we should, in pretty short order, get into the 4th season of this save, hopefully off the back of a quite successful season here at Linfield. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.